Good afternoon. This is Jason Moss of the Georgia Manufacturing Alliance Manufacturing News Network. Today is June the 25th, and we're hosting our task force call, relaunch retooling task force. We got a few superstars on the line with us. We're going to wrap up, do a really interesting wrap up call. This has been quite a journey. We did a little bit of pre-show chatter about this, but it's been quite an experiment that we've gone through with GMA. We started at the end of February. We knew we had to pivot from doing live events to doing virtual events, and for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we were doing 2-a-day conference calls every day for a couple of weeks. Then we backed it down to doing 1-a-days, and finally we backed off and took 1 day off. And man, it was it was a really well appreciated rest after about 2.5 months. So we did about 2.5 months straight, pretty much every day. And then now we've been able to transition even further. I tell you, I'm thankful for the new relationships we've been able to form, and being able to strengthen the ones we've had. And today is going to be, this is the official wrap up for our task force, our retooling task force for GMA through Zoom. We're starting tomorrow is our first live plant tour. I'm really excited about that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to just take a couple minutes and let these guys share a little bit about who they are, what they do, and also sort of what your experience has been through this. What are the things that you've learned as a result of the coronavirus, and what maybe some of the things you picked up as a response to GMA's engagement and transition in this process. So with that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up with my good friend, Mr. Dear Roger Grabman. Roger, if you would tell us who you are, what you do, for those folks that are going to be watching this in the future that are not on this call today. Tell us who you are, what you do, and a little bit of insights on what you're taking away from this new project and where we're going post COVID. So take it away, Roger.
Well, my name is Roger Grabman. I'm a registered professional engineer. My company, Grab Innovation and Services, is an engineering firm specializing in production machinery and related safety issues. So where I've seen things in this situation, one of my clients that they called me in to be looking at a project. Their protocol originally was the vice president had to sign off on the invite. There was a questionnaire of 6 questions. For example, have you traveled on mass transit? So if I had taken MARTA the week before that, or an airplane ride, that would have been a disqualifier. They took temperatures. They had an outside tent, took temperatures and issued masks, and a wristband that was colored for the day of the week.
Interesting.
So everybody had the right color wristband. And this is a facility that has several thousand employees at that location. So about 3 weeks later, when they invited me in, it didn't need the VP's approval anymore.
Okay.
Another client, they are very reluctant to get people in. Their employees have to go through a screening protocol before they come in the building. That was as of 3 weeks ago. One of the activities I've been involved with last week, I was at the Capitol building. Everybody was wearing a mask. I found it rather curious. One of the politicians, his mask consisted of a bandana. That's tied around at the top. The bottom is loose. So its efficacy as a mask was low, but I thought it makes him look like a stereotypical Western bandit.
Nice. Was it like a red bandana type thing?
No, his was blue.
It was blue. Okay, blue or red.
He's a Republican.
Right?
He's a Republican, but he was wearing a blue bandana. It's like, he doesn't understand some aspects of marketing, right? and branding.
Crossing the aisle, right? Crossing the prairie with the blue bandana.
Anyways, the activity that I saw in MARTA, some people were wearing masks, some were not. I was in midday, so it wasn't people commuting to work type people typically at that time of day.
Okay. Huh.
But some were wearing masks and some were not, and those who were not seemed to be relatively oblivious to potential hazards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you see any changes, whether it be age related, more young folks or older folks, or I mean, I guess you can do just like the crow's feet counting to figure out if they're younger folks or older folks. I don't know exactly how you do that with a mask on.
Well, and hair and general body composition, you can tell without seeing the bottom part of the face.
I don't know. There's some of them a little on the edge. It'd be kind of tricky.
But no, I didn't see a demarcation. Well, maybe on the MARTA, maybe the younger ones were less concerned.
Okay. Interesting.
I was at the Capitol when they were having a committee hearing, and they greatly restricted the seating around the building, and nobody was in the hearing committee room except committee members and the witness that was called.
Okay. Interesting.
Although they were broadcasting the proceedings over the internet.
Okay.
So I was standing there with my cell phone listening to what was going on inside.
Still. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Well, what have you seen on the business side of it? You said, I know you were dealing with customers and stuff. I mean, what are you seeing as far as like engagement with prospects or conversations in that arena? What does that look like?
Well, it has been somewhat more difficult.
Okay.
A lot of it is by back and forth. Of course, there's always the glitches. For example, this week processing an NDA, I'm bringing someone in to assist me with a project.
Mm-hmm.
And the client sent me the NDA, and I sent it on to the helper, and he sent it on to their management. And like, no, we haven't got it back yet. But of course, that could happen without Corona.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Well, I appreciate that, Roger. Thanks a bunch. All right, Mr. Don, brother, tell us who you are, what you do, what's your space, and your insights and takeaways from this crazy journey we've been on.
Sure. My name's Don Hepner. I'm a founder and executive partner of Paladin Associates. We're a boutique management services company that helps our clients reduce their costs of purchased goods and services, all directed to improving their bottom line and ultimately shareholder value. Couple things I've learned. There's been some puts and takes as far as the business is concerned. The shutdown has caused some businesses to suddenly realize that they need to focus on cost reductions. And so that's kind of sped up and helped the business. On the other hand, some of our clients that we've been working with have laid off critical people that we were working with, and it's become more difficult to get some of the projects done. So it's been put and take, but we're continuing to move forward. We have for a number of years actually now worked mostly on a remote basis. Zoom, that's one thing that also that has helped actually, is more and more people are becoming comfortable with video conferencing, whether it's Zoom or WebEx or others. And that actually, as people get more comfortable, has made remote working much more easy, and I think gives you some of the face-to-face type of relationships that are good in all business. Certainly helps our consulting business.
Right.
I also learned we do some work for, or we do work for some not-for-profits, and they have been impacted incredibly. Because especially those that rely on 5K runs and other events for at least part of their donations, has really they have really been negatively impacted, and a lot of them are laying off whatever permanent staff they do have. So
yeah,
but again, they're also now interested in saving money wherever they can. So it's sped up some projects, even with the not-for-profits. So
right.
Been an interesting 3 months. I'd have to say I don't really want to repeat it, and I don't want to extend it much longer.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? It sounds like some areas are having some sort of a rebound in a negative way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as masks, I think I agree. Typically the young people aren't wearing them so much,
Right.
and us with gray hair are probably wearing them more often than not. So
Mm-hmm. I wore one time to get to go into Publix, and the first time I wore it, and the only time I wore it into Publix, I figured out that somebody in that place needed a breath mint pretty bad. Sad that I figured that out, but I figured it out real quick. But anyway, beyond that, I found that, I mean, I've seen several studies, and you get safety. You might want to give a little bit of feedback on that about the limited oxygen when you're dealing with breathing through a mask. That's a big deal. And I mean, I've seen several different studies around that it can be, pretty stressful on the lungs, and it causes a lot more restriction than folks let on. So it's, there's some.
Early on, there was a lot of confusion there was a lot of mixing of the term respirator and mask.
Right.
Under the OSHA regulations, if you're using a respirator, your people are subject to a medical regime to make sure they're capable of using a respirator. It takes a certain amount of lung function to make a respirator work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with respirators, employers have to medically test their people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting times for sure. So yeah, I'm seeing that a lot of the younger folks tend to be a lot less mask. Of course, I mean, we went to Florida last week, and man, thousands and thousands of people. I might have saw 30 masks down in Destin, 30 or 40 total. I mean, restaurants were packed to the gills. The beaches were packed, and we'll see pretty quick. I mean, it really is interesting to see the feedback and the numbers that we keep getting back is, the testing and the positive testing and the antibody testing and all of that stuff. I mean, the only benchmark that I'm focusing my efforts and my time on, and I've been unable to find them, is how many hospitalizations are there, right? I mean, you test everybody in the freaking world. I mean, it's like how many people have two hands or close to it, right? You can test that all day, but how many people are ended up in the hospital? And I have not been able to see a consistent feed from anybody saying this is the results, and we've seen X amount of hospital increase, hospitalization increase. And I mean, and it's like they're trying to hide that data. And if you can find it, I'd love to know. John, tell us. Oh, can you not hear at all? Hold on a second. I'm unmute you. Let's try that. Stand by. Going one. Okay, now try it.
I got a partial answer to your question.
Okay.
What you were saying is, well, on the news today, they were saying that, the number of confirmed cases is around 2.5 million nationwide.
Right.
With the antibody testing that they've gotten so far to date, that they're able to calculate or extrapolate that number, that the number of people that have actually had it now is 20 to 30 million.
Right.
So with only 2.5 million confirmed cases, the true number of people that have been infected is 20 to 30 million. And so when they talk about, approaching herd immunity, as long as that number grows, the more people that have had it, the better.
Right.
You can take that piece of news and turn it negative, or you can spin it positive. Mm-hmm. And the positive thing is far more people have been infected now that we've got antibody data, which means that there are fewer, as the numbers bear out, more people have been sick, which means the fatality rate goes down percentage-wise. Right. Because now the exposure, has been that much more of the population.
Right.
And what else did they say? And the current spikes that they have now in the southern parts of the United States, Florida, Arizona, Texas, this and that, it's among a younger population where the testing results have gotten higher, but the corresponding hospitalizations have not gone higher.
Right.
So it's a younger group being testing positive now.
Right.
Whereas when it initially hit a lot of people, and then New York is responsible. 40% of the deaths nationwide are in senior care facilities.
Right.
So when you want to take the overall fatality rate, 40% is in nursing homes. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to bear out that it's not as bad as people thought, but there's just a certain level of groups that are at high risk.
Right.
Other than that, the general population that's healthy doesn't have a whole lot to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I mean, that's the vibe that I'm getting, but kind of.
Well, then you got to add the whole politicalization to it. What information and who are you getting it from? You know, it's that changes with the weather. So
exactly.
You gotta put your thinking cap on and understand what's what and why is why, and keep it at that.
Well, tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you're connected to this.
We've got a small world here today of about 4 people. Roger knows who I am. I believe Ryan does.
Right.
But I'll formally introduce myself to Rob here. Is that his name, Robert?
Don.
Yeah. Funny, Don and I are in somewhat similar industries as far as finding ways to improve companies' bottom line and increase profitability, prevent losses, and that kind of thing. But I'm business development manager for a firm called Util Auditors. We're the nation's number one utility and service contract auditing firm. Kind of like the technical name for it is operational cost containment and revenue recovery. So what we do is audit people's billing, service contracts, up to 16 areas of spend of operational expenses. We identify errors and overcharges and ways to improve that cost center for the client without reducing service or changing providers, basically improve that relationship. And it's all contingency based. So our audits, our reporting, all the data we present and give to the client comes at no cost. So it's a free way to identify revenue straight to the bottom line and reduce OPEX at the same time. And getting a lot of interest right now because everybody's trying to play catch up. They've gone into debt. They've had to spend money when they're not making money for, to combat COVID or whatever material supplies, taking care of their clients or their employees, that kind of thing. So, one of the things I ask people is, how much money did you spend on capital improvement projects to reduce your, improve efficiency or reduce, your operational expenses. You did a lighting project, you did this, you did that, you hired that consultant. How come you haven't done the one thing that can leverage the most revenue to your pocket that doesn't cost you anything to obtain? Kind of makes sense. So a lot of interest right now, some car dealerships, restaurant chains. We work with all the big guys, Home Depot, Walgreens, Siemens, Honeywell, Marriott, a lot of major manufacturing, and all the way down to the little guys. So our clients are basically 5 million in revenue and above. We will look at those a little smaller. We even do nonprofits. There's areas of ways to improve their numbers as well. So so that's basically it. And so if anybody is out there that's looking ways to find revenue and lower operational expenses, here's your ticket.
Cool. I appreciate that. I think you guys got.
We should talk.
Yeah.
I sent you a little message in the bottom with my email to go ahead and.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. All right, Mr. Ryan, the fly killer extraordinaire.
You notice how the video goes out every couple of minutes when the trying to get the fly off the camera. So Ryan Carver. I'm with Clear Choice Communications. We do everything business communication related when it comes to phone systems, internet circuits, wide area networks, cabling, etc. Our ride through COVID has been a roller coaster. So we started out with a bang with all these companies trying to figure out how to make their employees remote and get ready for remote working. And then it did a large dip because everyone's wanting to hold on to cash and reduce capital expenditure. But it's now back on the upswing. We've got some capital starting to free back up, and then we've got a lot of the whole lot of what we've been doing lately it's OpEx reduction. So we've been looking at, what people have been paying for their, for their phone lines, for their SIP trunks, for their internet connections, and seeing if we can, shop them around for a better price. Because what we do, we're a boutique telecom, so we have the ability to shop multiple different carriers for our customers. So kind of think of us as like a broker or an agent, and try to check all the boxes for all their needs and get them the most bang for their buck. So we've been doing a lot of that lately. My personal experience through all of this, and what I've noticed, the younger crowd is definitely they're more they're not as conservative when it comes to following guidelines, et cetera. As you see it, and it's different it's different as you go state to state too. As you were talking about Florida, you go out there, you see thousands, they're on vacation and there's no care in the world.
Right.
I go through from Georgia to Alabama to Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi a good bit. Alabama, I was going through there, and it's like, Georgia's kind of, everybody's, you got two camps. You still got a camp that's really conservative, and you got the camp that really they're over it. Alabama seemed to me like more, I saw more more mask, more distancing, more people that were being more cautious and aware. And in Mississippi, they just flat out don't care.
Really? Nobody's wearing anything.
Nobody's wearing anything. You got groups huddled everywhere. They don't care. But for us, like I think that a couple things that we've learned is, for us as a company. I mean, we haven't opened our office back up yet. We're doing nothing but remote work, and honestly, we've been more productive being remote because we've got rid of drive time. So right. I think we're going to see I think we're seeing the uptick. I think we're seeing the upswing. I think that we're going to see a drastic dip in the commercial real estate market, and in terms of available space is going to be open. And I think you're going to see a lot of companies get rid of space and go with more of a remote workforce. Right. And I think your traditional conference call is dead. I think this is it. You'll think you're going to be, every conference call that you have going forward, or call that you have going forward, is going to be a face-to-face. It's going to be a Zoom, where that you've got more engagement from people instead of people hitting their mute button and checking out and going and doing whatever.
Right.
I think this is the way we're going for the future, but and that's what we're prepping for anyway. But
interesting.
That's from our side. That's how we see it.
Well, I'm glad to hear things are cranking back up in the positive direction with engagement, because it's really weird for us because of I'll be brutally honest. I've been jonesing for some networking. I mean, for me, that is, it's just the face-to-face thing. That's what we built the entire business around. And I agree that there will be a lot more Zoom beyond COVID, but I think people, and maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just weird, but I think that people crave that personal engagement and interaction that you just cannot do. Zoom is way better than a traditional conference call, but there's a lot that you miss in body language and communication beyond, it's this much, this what you got, right?
Yep.
And that's better than just the audio, but I think that people are creatures of community, and they want to get back together and really be able to dig in with folks.
Yeah.
I pray that is the case, because if not, I'm definitely going to have to change my business plan.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. I think the ones that are ready to go, and when people are more comfortable, I think you're going to have a big drive towards the face-to-face meetings and the face-to-face groups and networking, et cetera. I think you're going to have that, but I think when that can't happen, again, a conference call is not going to, you're not going to be doing a conference call, because at least you can get, I can read your face. I can read something a whole lot better than what your traditional conference call is. So right. I agree that everybody's ready to get, or at least I am, you are, we're ready to get back to the personal interaction. But, I think this is what we got going forward when we can't make, a sit down session or a group meeting session.
Yeah. Well, I really hope that somebody can figure out a way to standardize the reports and the feedback coming from these testings and hospital, capacity and all that, because I mean, people are making decisions on, some pretty bogus statistics, and I mean, and that's making it fun for us because we're shooting to have 600 to 800 live people at the summit, and the trends were definitely going that way. And then over the weekend, some people said a few things that were kind of awkward and through some different conversations. But I mean, I was talking to somebody from Salesforce that, I mean, they've banned all travel, even to prospects and customers, till 2021. Now they went from, of course, I did a little research on them but from 2005, when they went public, to 2020, they went from 700 people to 49,000 people.
Right.
And they nearly doubled last year. And so Salesforce is killing it. They're doing really cool stuff globally, but based on what I've heard, I hadn't heard the official head count reduction, but it's been significant. Right. And so even there, if they're saying no travel till 2021, and I'm only hearing that out of the big international,
the larger companies.
Yeah. I mean, the big ones like that. But I mean, most of the small, medium-sized businesses I'm talking to, man, they're hungry. They're ready to get back after it. Let's get this thing cranking back up. And those are the people you want to deal with anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And I didn't give my 2 cents on the whole number thing, but I'm with you on the hospitalization. I mean, you look at until this thing goes to zero, the raw number, the actual number is always going to, I mean, it's always going to rise. Cases are always going to increase. The real number of cases is always going to increase. That's never going to go down. And people keep talking about, like media outlets keep talking about, well, the number of cases increasing. Of course they're going to, until like there is flat out no virus. That's going to happen. And the more you test, hey, guess what? The more positives you're going to find. That's going to happen. Give me like the percentage. Give me my percent to like of being hospitalized and potential to die, and then that's the
0.001.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm not really worried about the rest of it. So.
Yeah.
Well, there's also been some examples of people preying on other people's lack of math competency.
Right.
So I saw where a city was talking about their great improvement and decline of rates, but when you got looking at it, what actually declined was the rate of increase of the rate of increase of the rate.
Nice.
So they were still accelerating. They were still getting more, and that rate of getting more was still going up, but it wasn't going. But the rate of how that was going up was actually declining.
Mm-hmm. It's like the unemployment numbers too. It's like, that's so weird. It's like, okay, well, we had 10,000 new unemployment filings last week. Well, that's cool, but you're not saying the freaking 300,000 people that went back off of unemployment back into the labor market. That
right.
Well, one of the economic statistics that recently has gotten more credibility, but going back decades, was never mentioned, was the actual employment rate.
Right.
So back in the mid 90s, I had an opportunity to ask an economist, well, how many jobs are there in the country? And at that time, he said 86,000.
Well then.
And
that's
at that
pretty
time,
busy folks.
At that time, we were only 200, we were less than 300 million people in the country. 86,000 people. Now, children don't work. Retirees don't work. Many people maintaining a household don't work. You have a breadwinner for a household, hopefully. But of course, you also have many with multiple breadwinners. But it's like 86,000 were producing all the goods and services for the remainder of the country.
Yeah.
Now I think they talk about employment at around 150, 160 million people.
Right.
So that was in the early 90s. It's like, okay, a statistic the economists really don't talk about, or certainly not the politicians talk about much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I used to drive a statistician buddy of mine crazy, and because I'm like, well, let's understand. I need to understand your your field. I need to understand how you calculate things. He said, well, it's like the lottery. He was um, sharing with me all the wisdom of the ages, and I'm like, well, the lottery's 50-50, and he just, I mean, he could not wrap his brain around it. And I'm like, well, the lottery is 50-50. Either I picked the numbers or I didn't. It's like either I got them or I didn't. He did not appreciate that at all. I don't know why he didn't like my math, but it seemed logical. It's 50-50. Either I got it, then did I pick all the right 6 numbers or not? But apparently that does not hold a lot of water. But anyway, well, guys, this has been entertaining, and again, I appreciate you guys for being on the call today. I am committed to do whatever we can do, help you grow and be more successful beyond the COVID than you were, leading into it. And what are some of the things that you guys are seeing? What could we do? I mean, the summit is we're counting big on the summit. I mean, that is the opportunity for those that are ready to get back to business to be able to connect and get back and connect with people that are also ready to get back to business. So I think we've thinned the herd some, but now I think the best of the best will be there. They'll be engaged. They'll be actively looking. It's time to come play. Outside of the summit or including the summit, what are some things that GMA, what are the things that we could do to make it better for you guys? John, you got any ideas, things that we might be able to?
Oh, of course. I always have ideas. I'll always. I don't know. I don't want to think out loud, but I could daydream later and shoot you an email.
Yeah, shoot me a couple ideas. If there's some holes in what we're doing, what we're bringing to market, please let me know. Because
everybody who joins either the workforce or the task force or the round tables, everybody's got a business or a service, a product or a service that fits a niche with a certain
right.
part of the entire manufacturing group of 1,000 or so manufacturers that are a part of the GMA. And we're missing the face-to-face component of the tours where people get business cards and introductions and say hello, shake hands, which is always highly productive, in the right situation. I don't know. Let me think out loud about how maybe there's an avenue to connect people in some sense, that can help out. I mean, I don't want to brag and say I got the best thing out there. Everybody's got something of value that people need. But I've just found that I can get people's attention nowadays a lot easier than when everybody's just, pigs and shit, just having a great time and making plenty of money and just running their business at peak capacity and all that. Now people are grasping for straws, and that's why I go, hey,
right.
But let me think about it. Maybe sort of outside of a conference call, something that's been done to help to link solutions with problems. GMA members, maybe say, hey, what are the top 3 things that are, that you're faced with? Answer back for a free, and you'll get a free, gift card or something like that. And then plug those requests in with the people that supply or have the fix to that problem.
Right.
We're looking at new telecom. We're shopping lighting. We've got this problem. We've got that problem. We're trying to fix this, and maybe be a gateway to connect the GMA product and service providers with the actual members.
A little more matchmaking stuff.
Yeah, some matchmaking stuff, because we're a little bit inhibited in this environment.
Right.
But play matchmaker. You never know.
Well, we're getting back to it, man. I mean, like I said, I'm thrilled that tomorrow we're gonna be boots on the ground in a factory again, and that just really.
Oh yeah. I was late. Oh wait, was that Deny Signs?
Yeah, Deny Signs over in Douglasville.
Yeah, I toured that facility. I want to say 6 or 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was working when I was in the energy business. Met with those guys and toured the facility.
Right.
Just a great big square room, big building with where they just build and make signs, and they got the biggest spray booth you've ever seen.
Yeah.
For paint and stuff, But yeah, it's a good walkthrough. It's in.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate that. All right, Mr. Roger, what do you see? What are some of the things, any areas of improvement that stand out, idea or two? And if you don't have them off the cuff, feel free, like John, to shoot me an email.
Well, I know that you were talking with some Gainesville area companies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm eagerly awaiting announcements on those.
Yes.
I do get emails from another organization. I have been to a couple of their things. Oh, their big thing is that you get a color-coded email, you get a color-coded name tag depending upon your specialty. But it's like, okay, so I get lumped with architects.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah, but it's still their mix is not with my mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't need to talk to an aromatherapist.
Are you sure?
Well, considering that I have an extremely poor sense of smell congenitally, it's like,
That'd help. Right. I got you.
no, I think that's totally lost on me. It's like, yes.
Right. That's funny.
Essential oils.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Yeah.
the Mary Kay thing that always gets me. Somebody needs to hook me up with some Travel or Mary Kay. I get all that we need.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you see that at most Chamber of Commerce events, too. And it's like, oh, good. Good we don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyway.
But like I say, I'm waiting for developments with the Gainesville area companies.
Okay.
I think it'd be good if you can get into. I think it's all good. They make egg products.
Right. Okay.
They've got a relatively new CEO, several months old.
Mm-hmm. Well, any introductions that you guys have, please feel free to pass them along. Especially using LinkedIn, guys. I'm seriously just send a note and say, hey, I'm involved in this group. I think it might be beneficial to you. Buddies with the CEO. Feel free to connect with Jason and tag me at Jason so my name highlights. And that way I know you sent it. Then that gives me a reason to reach back out to them and say, hey, Roger suggested we chat. What can we do? How can we help you guys? And that takes it kind of out of your world. And then seriously, in like a paragraph, it's all you need. And that'll tee it up and allow me to be able to sort of step in and see what the match is from there. So I would encourage and invite as many of those as possible. So that's how we're really going to be using a lot more LinkedIn corporately to do those things. So that's my ask for you. So if you got some of those that are not GMA members yet, that are we're good with service folks, right? We're not actively pursuing anybody else outside of the actual manufacturers in the state of Georgia. And it can be the safety person, it can be the engineer, the CEO. It doesn't matter, whatever level you're connected, we'd love to get connected and just see if it's fit, right? So cool. Thank you, Roger. All right, Mr. Don, what are you seeing, brother? What are some areas of possible improvement for GMA?
I like John's idea of trying to figure out who has cost pressures right now, and who from the members, from the your manufacturing companies, and see if we can figure out a way to match them up with the service providers like John and Ryan and I, and Roger, I guess, as well, to help them solve those problems. I think that would be a huge service you could provide to the manufacturing companies as well as us service providers.
Okay. Well, one of the things, and we sent Ryan, I don't know if you've seen that one yet or not from LinkedIn, but I've asked each of our exhibitors to give you the opportunity to record a short video and tell us, if exactly that. If you're a manufacturer facing cost challenges, make sure you stop by my booth and I'll give you some solutions. I'm going to be at booth 42 or whatever the number is. We're still jockeying all that around, but and that way it gives you the opportunity to do that. And then we'll take that link, that video, attach it to the back end of the summit video. And then we're pushing those out every day, a new video out every day through our LinkedIn channel. And that gets you in front of all the manufacturers that we're connected to. I mean, that is gold for you, right? And Ryan did a fantastic job. in there doing his piece. So I don't know if we rolled your video in LinkedIn yet or not. Wesley's got a whole schedule. So
Yeah.
we're doing a picture on the company page and then a video on mine. And then the next day we're swapping it. So we're not like banging videos every day, but every other day we're rolling out exhibitor videos. And then again, you guys as exhibitors have the opportunity to put something in the show bag. Make sure it's it's a single brochure or a small trinket, because the bags are not huge. But if you got a questionnaire or something that's really dynamic, if you're going to invest time and money to make sure that you got as powerful a brochure with a call to action in it, because it's going to be in the hands of everybody that attends the summit, right? So that's a tool that you can use that we want to make sure that you maximize, for the summit as well. So
in the earlier part of the year, I attended the poultry show. Having been in the poultry industry, but there was an exhibitor, their social media guy was sending out, and he still sends out by LinkedIn, a whole lot of stuff over. There's no question that he has a certain level of recognition.
Right.
Probably his recognition is a bit higher than his company's recognition, but he sends out a whole lot of stuff frequently.
Yeah. And we're trying to make sure that we adjust that, make sure we get the right balance as well. So, all right, perfect.
You can't overdo it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Ryan? What's your recommendations, suggestions, ideas? How can we make it better for you and Clear Choice?
I would say similar to what John and Don were talking about. I think it's good, the things that we do in the face-to-face networking groups where, we do like a, provider spotlight, or either a spotlight on the manufacturer.
Okay.
Maybe setting something out, and, especially this is a good time. So coming out of an event like this, maybe if you send a poll, or a questionnaire or something like to the manufacturers, hey, what are you looking for? What are some issues that you're looking to solve that coming out of COVID? And then you put together, like we do a Zoom roundtable with people that fit, like the top 2 or 3 or 5 or however many, you know what I mean? Okay. And then that way it's a no pressure way for manufacturers just to come on and, they can ask questions if they got problems they need to solve, et cetera.
Right.
And we just, it could be a whole informal deal. It's not like us going through giving spills. It's like,
right.
We know that they've got a problem. They said that they've got a problem on, about something, or they need to reduce cost in some area, who can help as a provider, have them on the call, and then, just have like one big Q&A. I think that'd be good.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
How about a video that focuses on a common manufacturing problem and then links particular suppliers to that problem solution?
That too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be super candid with you guys, dude. I have sent out in my career hundreds of surveys, and I get like 1% return.
Yeah.
They just suck. I mean, I think so I'm not a big karma believer, but if I was, that's like the place on the planet karma shows up in my world, because I don't ever answer anybody's freaking survey, because and I'm the guy you want to answer the survey, because I'm the guy writing the check, right? So it's the same thing. Is if I'm not going to answer somebody's survey, show me why I should, right? I mean, yeah. I have yet to be compelled to answer anybody's survey, and I could give a crap. And so apparently the rest of the world has heard me say that, and nobody answers my surveys.
I think it's got to be, the copy's got to be good, right? And it's got to be, yeah, the copy's got to be good. Like, I'll tell you, who did it great? Industrial Sage did it great with one. They were, I can't remember exactly. So that shows you how much attention I paid to it. But I can't remember exactly what the webinar that they did was on. No, it was marketing. So it was manufacturing, marketing, and selling during this environment. And they had a ton of people. They had a ton of response to that. But they had good copy that went with it, and a good call to action to it. So
and that's probably right.
Well, that's what you got to figure out. Yeah, right. Yeah. So that does make it tough.
I'll definitely kick that around and see if we can come up with something to get. I mean, if we can just figure out how to get the manufacturers to respond, that I think that'd be great value, because again, we're dialing in the speakers and the keynotes. I mean, the keynotes are nailed for the summit, but we're dialing in the speakers and the roundtables right now, making sure that we've got the right subject and speakers for these breakout sessions.
Huge.
So,
Come on.
So it's, we still got a little work to do in that space. But, well, guys, this has been a fantastic wrap up to a great journey. Thank you for being on the task force and the Rebuilding, Retooling Task Force, and your insights in this. This will be archived for future generations for everybody that wants to go find this on our website and hear the conclusion of this project. We will, just keep your eyes and ears open for any special notifications. We are going to have our Monday call. Well, of course, we got the tour tomorrow. We'll have our Monday call. And then beyond that, we were planning to do our general networking in Alpharetta, Cobb, and Gwinnett the following week, the week after the July 4th. But none of those facilities are currently available. So we're going to have to do them virtually one more time. I've actually pulled down the Alpharetta call. So we've got Gwinnett and Cobb. If you typically plug into those, pick the one that you normally go to, and we're going to do those virtual one more time. Not that I wanted them that way, but the facilities won't let us in, and I don't want to tear my knuckles up banging on the door. So we're going to do July, but it looks like we'll be able to go live for August for networking. So that's our goal anyway. But with that, it has been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun for you guys and for me. And thank you for being part of this. And we will see you at the next upcoming event. Guys, been another great day at GMA. We'll see you around, guys.
Sure.
Thanks, sir.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.